Significant weather developing across the eastern states. Heavy rain, strong winds, temperature swings of 15 degrees in 24 hours. That is what we were looking at for the 25th of January and the days following. I've been monitoring the latest data from the Bureau of Meteorology, examining the models and tracking the systems moving across the continent. What we are seeing is a fairly typical summer pattern, but with some notable variations that deserve your attention. Right now, conditions across Australia couldn't be more varied. Darwin S sitting at 33 degrees with humidity above 80%. The build-up is well and truly underway. Meanwhile, down in Hobart, you are looking at 18 degrees during the day and 12 overnight. That's a 15-degree spread between our northern and southern capitals. That temperature gradient is driving the weather patterns we'll be discussing. Let me break down what is happening region by region, starting with the technical setup. Then we'll get into the specifics for each state and what you need to know. The synoptic situation is straightforward enough. We've got a heat trough sitting across the interior, a ridge of high pressure over the Tasman, and a series of weak fronts tracking across the south. Nothing particularly dramatic on its own, but the interaction between these systems is creating some interesting conditions. The Access model and the European model are in fairly good agreement on the broad pattern. Both show the heat trough maintaining its position over Central Australia through the weekend, with daytime temperatures out there pushing 35 to 40 degrees. The GFS is slightly cooler, but we're talking a degree or two difference, not significant. Where the models diverge slightly is in the timing and intensity of the moisture moving up from the south. The Access model has scattered showers and storms developing across New South Wales and Queensland from Saturday afternoon through Sunday. The European model is a touch more aggressive with the rainfall totals. We'll get to the specifics shortly. Upper level analysis shows a weak trough at 500 hectopascals positioned over eastern Australia. That S providing some lift, which combined with the surface moisture and afternoon heating is triggering those storms. Nothing particularly unusual for this time of year, but worth monitoring. Sea surface temperatures around the Australian coast are running slightly above average. Sydney S sitting at 21 to 22 degrees. Brisbane S warmer at 24 to 25. That S contributing to the humidity levels, particularly across the east coast. Now let S get into the regional breakdown. I'll work north to south, covering each capital and the surrounding areas. Then we will discuss the inland regions and what this all means practically. Darwin and the Northern Territory first. You're in the thick of the wet season. January is typically your wettest month and 2026 is running true to form. As of the 25th of January, you are looking at 31 to 33 degrees during the day, dropping to 24 to 25 overnight. Humidity is sitting above 80%, creating fairly oppressive conditions. Rainfall across the top end has been consistent. You are averaging 28 rainy days in January, with total rainfall around 340 millimetres. That is not unusual. The rain typically arrives as heavy tropical thunderstorms during the afternoon and evening. They blow through quickly, but they re-intense while they last. For those in Katherine and the surrounding regions, you are seeing similar conditions. The monsoon trough is active, bringing regular afternoon storms. Roads can become impassable quickly with that volume of rain in a short period. If you're travelling, check conditions before you head out. Moving to Queensland. Brisbane has been copping it this week, 38 degrees this arvo with humidity making it feel worse. That warm, sticky air mass has been parked over southeast Queensland for days. Overnight temperatures aren't providing much relief either, sitting around 22 degrees. The forecast for the 25th has Brisbane reaching 28 to 29 degrees. Still warm, but a slight improvement. The key issue is the afternoon and evening thunderstorms. January typically sees about 7 rainy days with total rainfall up to 210 millimetres. Those storms can be severe. Heavy rain, strong winds, lightning, they develop quickly. The Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast are seeing similar conditions. Cairns and Townsville further north are dealing with the typical tropical pattern. Hot, humid with regular afternoon storms. Nothing out of the ordinary for this time of year, but you need to be prepared. For those in inland Queensland, particularly the Darling Downs and Western Queensland, conditions are hot and dry. Daytime temperatures pushing into the mid to high 30s. Fire danger ratings are elevated. Any storms that do develop could bring dry lightning, which is a concern for bushfire starts. New South Wales and the ACT. Sydney S running wetter than average this January. The city typically sees 94 millimetres spread across 27 rainy days. We're retracking above that. The 25th of January has Sydney at 24 to 26 degrees during the day, dropping to 19 to 20 overnight. The key point for Sydney is the scattered showers throughout the evening. There's a fairly high chance of rain. Winds are brisk as well, averaging 25 kilometres per hour. Coastal areas will feel that. Sea temperatures are pleasant at 21 to 22 degrees if you're really keen for a swim. Newcastle, Wollongong and the Central Coast are seeing similar conditions. The Hunter Valley and Illawarra regions have the chance of afternoon and evening storms. Nothing severe at this stage, but monitor the Bureau S warnings. For those on the southern tablelands and around Canberra, you are cooler than the coast. Daytime temperatures around 22 to 24 degrees. Overnight lows can drop to 15 or 16. The chance of showers exists, but it's slower than Sydney. Inland New South Wales, particularly the central west and Riverina, you're warm and mostly dry. Daytime temperatures in the high 20s to low 30s. Keep an eye on fire danger ratings, particularly if you are in grassland areas, Victoria and Melbourne. You are running warmer than the long-term average. As of mid-January 2026, Melbourne has been tracking about 0.2 degrees above historical norms. Not dramatic, but noticeable. The forecast for the 25th has Melbourne reaching 27 to 30 degrees during the day. That is warm for this time of year. Come evening, temperatures drop sharply to around 15 degrees. That is a significant range and people have been feeling it. Temperature whiplash like that leads to headaches, sinus issues, people being crook. Melbourne typically sees 16 rainy days in January with total rainfall around 84 millimetres. You're retracking close to that. The 25th has the potential for changeable conditions, hot during the day, cool with possible showers by evening. You know the saying about Melbourne weather. 4 seasons in one day. Geelong, Ballarat and Bendigo are seeing similar patterns. The Gippsland region has a higher chance of showers. The Western District and Wimmera are drier, but still warm. For those in the northeast and alpine regions, you are cooler. Daytime temperatures in the low to mid-20s. Overnight lows can drop to single digits at elevation. No snow at this time of year, but it's fresher up there, South Australia and Adelaide. You are in the midst of summer with fairly favourable conditions. January is your warmest month. The 25th has Adelaide at 26 to 27 degrees during the day, dropping to 17 to 18 overnight. That's moderate, not extreme. Adelaide sees very little rainfall during January. About 2 rainy days with total rainfall around 33 millimetres. The dry, sunny weather makes it pleasant. The Fleurieu Peninsula and Adelaide Hills are slightly cooler and have a marginally higher chance of showers. The Riverland and areas along the Murray are hot and dry. Daytime temperatures in the low to mid-30s. If you've got vines or orchards, you are managing irrigation carefully in this heat. The Eyre Peninsula and York Peninsula are seeing similar dry conditions. Fire danger is a consideration, particularly in grassland areas, Western Australia and Perth. You're enjoying some of the best summer weather in the country. Perth benefits from that Mediterranean climate. Dry, sunny summers. The 25th of January has Perth delivering brilliant sunshine. 11 to 12 hours of sun throughout the day. Daytime temperatures reaching 30 to 32 degrees. It's warm, but the lower humidity makes it more bearable than the East Coast. Evenings in Perth are pleasant, temperatures dropping to 18 to 20 degrees. What is particularly notable is the lack of rain. Perth typically sees 1 to 2 rainy days across the entire month of January. You are on track for that. It's ideal weather if you want dry, sunny conditions. The southwest, including Margaret River and Albany, is slightly cooler and has a marginally higher chance of showers. The wheat belt and goldfields are hot and dry. Daytime temperatures in the mid to high 30s. For those in the Pilbara and Kimberley, you are dealing with typical tropical conditions. Hot, humid with the chance of afternoon storms, similar to the Northern Territory. Tasmania and Hobart, due to your geographical position, you've got a more temperate climate compared to the mainland. The 25th of January has Hobart at 18 to 21 degrees during the day, dropping to 12 to 14 overnight. Those are the coolest temperatures of all the capital cities. Hobart is one of the cities with the lowest rainfall during January. About 13 rainy days with total rainfall of 23 millimetres. The weather is quite pleasant and mild, good for outdoor activities. The northwest coast and northeast are seeing similar conditions. The central plateau and alpine areas are cooler, particularly overnight. If you are heading to Cradle Mountain or the high country, overnight lows can drop close to freezing at elevation. The east coast is typically the driest part of Tasmania in summer. Good conditions if you down that way. Now let's talk about the inland regions. Alice Springs, Uluru and the central desert areas, conditions are harsh, daytime temperatures reaching 35 to 40 degrees. In some locations, you could see temperatures exceeding 40. The desert climate means overnight temperatures drop sharply, 20 to 25 degrees overnight, still warm by most standards, but a significant drop from the daytime peak. Conditions are dry with little to no rainfall. Solar radiation is extreme. UV index is off the charts. If you are traveling through these areas, you need to be well prepared. Plenty of water, high SPF sunscreen, understand the distances involved and the lack of services. For those in the outback regions of Queensland, New South Wales and South Australia, similar conditions apply. Hot, dry, isolated. Mobile coverage is limited. Let someone know your travel plans and expected arrival times. Right, let's discuss what this all means practically. We've got the technical setup, we've covered the regional forecasts. Now let's talk about what you need to do. First, hydration. This should be obvious, but it bears repeating. In the heat we are seeing across most of the country, you need to be drinking water consistently, not just when you feel thirsty. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. Keep a water bottle with you, drink regularly. For those in the northern parts of Australia and inland areas dealing with extreme heat, this is critical. Elderly neighbours, mates who might not be as mobile, check on them. Heat exhaustion and heat stroke are serious. Sun protection, UV levels are extreme across most of Australia in summer. Slip on a shirt, slop on sunscreen, slap on a hat. That's not just a slogan, it's practical advice that can prevent skin cancer. Use high SPF sunscreen, reapply it regularly, particularly if you're re-sweating or swimming. Limit outdoor activities during the middle of the day. If you're re-working outside, take regular breaks in the shade. Reschedule heavy work for early morning or late afternoon if possible. For those in the eastern states with the chance of afternoon and evening storms, keep an umbrella handy if you are heading out. These storms can develop quickly. You might leave home in sunshine and get caught in heavy rain an hour later. If you're in areas prone to severe thunderstorms, particularly inland Queensland and New South Wales, monitor the Bureau S warnings. Severe storms can bring damaging winds, large hail and heavy rain, leading to flash flooding. If a severe thunderstorm warning is issued for your area, take it seriously. Get inside, secure loose items, stay away from windows, bushfire risk. For those in fire-prone areas, particularly inland regions and parts of South Australia, check the fire danger rating daily. If it's say total fire ban day, that means no fires whatsoever, not even a controlled burn-off. The conditions are too dangerous. If you're in a bushfire-prone area and the fire danger rating hits catastrophic, do not stay and defend. Leaving early is the safest option. Have your bushfire plan ready. Know your triggers for leaving. Don't wait until you see flames. For those with livestock and properties in rural areas, you're already managing this, but it's worth stating. Make sure animals have access to shade and water. Check water troughs regularly in this heat. Stock can drink significantly more in hot conditions. Travelling during this period requires preparation. If you're re-heading inland or to remote areas, carry extra water, more than you think you will need. Carry a map. Don-T relies solely on GPS. Mobile coverage is patchy at best in remote areas. Let someone know your travel plans. Expected route, expected arrival time. If you Don-T arrive, they can raise the alarm. Check road conditions before you leave. Roads can close quickly due to flooding in the north or bushfires in other areas. If you are heading to the coast for a swim, check the surf conditions. Strong winds along the New South Wales coast are creating rough seas. Rips can form quickly. Swim between the flags at patrolled beaches. If you get caught in a rip, Don-T panic. Swim parallel to the beach until you're out of the current, then swim back to shore. For those dealing with the temperature swings we're seeing in Victoria and parts of New South Wales, dress in layers. Mornings might be cool, afternoons hot, evenings cool again. Having a light jacket or jumper with you means you re-prepared for the changes. The health impacts of these temperature swings are real. People have been crook for weeks. Flu, headaches, sinus issues. It's not just coincidence. Your body struggles to adapt when temperatures are fluctuating 10 to 15 degrees day to day. If you're feeling under the weather, rest. Stay hydrated. See a doctor if symptoms persist. Now, I want to address the longer-term pattern briefly. What we're seeing over the 25th of January is part of a broader summer pattern. The heat trough over the interior is likely to persist through the coming weeks. That means continued hot, dry conditions inland with the chance of afternoon storms along the coast and ranges. The Indian Ocean dipole is currently in a neutral phase. El Niño southern oscillation is also neutral. That means we were not seeing the strong steering influences those climate drivers can provide. Weather patterns are more variable as a result. For those waiting for rain, particularly in parts of Western Australia and inland New South Wales, the outlook isn't promising in the short term. The ridge of high pressure over the southern parts of the country is blocking frontal systems from moving through. That keeps conditions dry. South Australia, you've been waiting for decent rain. The dams are low, paddocks are dry. This current pattern doesn't offer much relief. There are some weak fronts on the extended models, but I'm not confident they'll deliver significant rainfall. We'll monitor it. For those in flood-prone areas, particularly in Queensland and the Northern Territory, the regular afternoon storms can lead to localised flooding. If you're in a low-lying area and heavy rain is forecast, consider moving vehicles to higher ground. Fill the bathtub with clean water before storms hit if there's a risk of power outages. That gives you drinking water and flushing water if supply gets cut. The marine forecast is worth mentioning for those on the water. Winds along the New South Wales coast are averaging 25 kilometres per hour, which is about 45 knots. Seas are rough. Small craft warnings are in effect for some areas. Check the Bureau S marine forecast before heading out. In Western Australia, conditions are calmer, light winds, smooth seas, good for fishing or boating if that is your plan. Around Tasmania, seas are moderate, winds are light to moderate. Reasonable conditions for this time of year. For those planning outdoor events over the coming days, factor in the weather. If you are in the eastern states, have a wet weather backup plan. Storms can disrupt outdoor gatherings quickly. In the inland areas in Western Australia, sun protection is the key concern. I want to touch on the air quality briefly. In areas where there are bushfires or controlled burns, smoke can impact air quality. If you have respiratory issues, monitor the air quality index. Stay indoors with windows closed if air quality deteriorates. Use air conditioning if available. The pollen count is also elevated across many parts of Australia in summer. If you suffer from hay fever, take your medication. Mornings and evenings tend to be the worst times for pollen. Let's discuss what to watch for over the next few days. The pattern IV outlined for the 25th of January is likely to continue through the weekend and into early next week. Hot inland, warm on the coast with scattered showers and storms in the east. The key things to monitor are the severe thunderstorm warnings from the Bureau. If storms develop, they can intensify quickly. The Bureau will issue warnings with several hours' notice typically, but conditions can change fast. Also watch the fire danger ratings. If we get a day of strong winds combined with the heat and dry conditions inland, fire danger will spike. That's when things can get serious quickly. For those in Northern Australia, the monsoon trough position will determine whether you get consistent rain or just isolated storms. The models are showing it remaining active, which means regular afternoon and evening storms. That's typical for this time of year. The southern states are more stable. The ridge of high pressure is maintaining settled conditions. That's good for those wanting dry weather, frustrating for those waiting for rain. One final point on the extended outlook. By early February, there are some signs the pattern might shift. The models are hinting at a trough developing over the southeast, which could bring a cooler change and some rain to Victoria, Tasmania and southern New South Wales. But we are re-talking 10 to 14 days out and there's low confidence at that range. I'll update as we get closer. In summary, the 25th of January 2026 is delivering typical summer conditions across Australia with some notable regional variations. Hot and humid in the north and inland areas, warm with scattered storms in the east, dry and sunny in the west, cool and pleasant in Tasmania. The key concerns are the heat inland, the potential for severe thunderstorms in the east, and the elevated fire danger in some regions. None of this is unprecedented. It's summer in Australia, but it requires sensible precautions. Stay hydrated, use sun protection, monitor warnings from the Bureau, check on vulnerable people in your community, have a plan for severe weather, whether that storms or bushfires. The data IV presented comes from the Bureau of Meteorology, cross-referenced with the Access, GFS and European models. I've given you the temperatures, the rainfall expectations, the wind speeds, all in metric, all from official sources. You've lived through worse summers than this. Many of you remember the Black Summer fires of 1919 to 2020. You remember the Brisbane floods of 2011. You know Cyclone Tracy. Christmas Eve 1974, winds up to 217 kilometres per hour. Darwin was destroyed. This isn't to that. This is a normal Australian summer with the usual challenges, heat, storms, fire risk. But it's manageable if you are prepared and sensible about it. Keep an eye on the Bureau's website for updates. They'll issue warnings as conditions develop. Don T relies solely on this forecast. Weather can change. Models can be wrong. Get the latest information before making decisions. If you've got specific concerns about your local area, the Bureau has regional forecasts that provide more detailed information than I can cover in a national overview. Check those for your specific location, and remember, if conditions deteriorate, if warnings are issued, take them seriously. The Bureau doesn't issue severe weather warnings for fun. They issue them when conditions warrant attention. Right, that's the comprehensive breakdown for the evening of the 25th of January 2026 and the days following. I've covered the technical setup, the regional forecasts, the practical implications, and what to watch for. Stay safe, be prepared, use common sense, and we'll continue bringing you the latest weather updates as they